I don't want to sound redundant because I've introduced Kim a few times, but for those of you who don't know who she is, Kim Clark has been around our community for about 15 years now. She's taken probably every class Rev D's ever offered. She's very infused with the consciousness. She works in the tech world as a communications specialist, building bridges for those who can't seem to find their way through the computer, much less to each other's face. She's a speaker, international speaker. Just a few months ago, she was in Portugal speaking, and she finds her greatest joy in spreading the consciousness of oneness, diversity, and unity. And without further ado, Kim Clark.
That was well done. All from memory? Wow.
All from memory.
Thank you, Pam. Check one. Hey, hello.
Are we on?
Check one. Check. Hit. Hip. I can't sing like Christine Newstrom, so you don't want me to do that. Hi, everybody. Today's theme is joy. This month's theme is joy. Today's theme, the divine sense of humor. I was in San Francisco eating at a restaurant a little while ago, and one of the employees walks over to me and Christy and says, "Okay, you look like Jane Lynch, and you look like Jodie Foster." And we went, "Yep, that's right." I love that comparison. But to be honest with you and transparent with you, I lost my laugh for quite a while. And I want to talk about laughter, and I want to talk about joy, even in the midst. Sound good? Yes. So in 1986, Ellen DeGeneres walked onto The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, the first female comedian to ever be invited to do a piece on Johnny Carson. I was in high school at the time, and I heard about it. She took 5 minutes, and part of her piece was a phone call to God. Anyone hear or see this piece? Look it up on YouTube. She wanted to ask God why fleas existed, because what benefit could they possibly have on this earth? So she wanted the chance just to, can we just call God to find out why do we have fleas? Well, part of the conversation, it ends with God giving a joke back to her, saying, "Knock, knock." She's like, "Who's there?" "God." "God who?" "Got a dime?" And she's like, "Gotta go." I really resonated with her style of humor because it doesn't put anybody else down. A lot of humor these days puts other people or ideologies or whatever down. There's somebody who's at expense for our laughter, our humor. And I don't vibe with that. I really don't. I like simple, intelligent humor. Right? Yes. Yeah. I was raised in a household with laughter. My dad, who's right here, had a bunch of comedy albums from Steve Martin, Bill Cosby before now, back in his day. His mom would tell us dirty jokes at Thanksgiving. His sister totally, followed in line with the dirty jokes, still does. And his brother as well is quite funny. I spent a lot of time with him when I was a child. I'll tell you a little bit of story about him in just a second. And I was raised on Carol Burnett and fell in love with Monty Python. Right? I chose my major in college to be advertising just so I could make funny commercials. I wanted to make funny stories, funny parodies, do sketches. I got out of doing college papers and high school papers by saying, wouldn't you rather watch a video instead of read a paper, yet another paper? And then I got to do sketches. I did telenovelas in Spanish, which I really didn't watch, but that made them funnier because my Spanish was terrible and I didn't know what I was doing. But I called it Que Peña. Which I think means what a shame. I didn't even know what I was doing. But I was raised in this consciousness of laughter and humor. And I grew up I was very lucky, very blessed, a very joyful child. And then life happens. 16 years old, I lose my middle sister in a tragic accident. 2 years later, my parents divorce. 10 years later, I have the hardest coming out. I thought God hated me. Then I spent several years around someone who was verbally abusive to me. I was losing my laugh. I was losing my laughter. I used to be compared to Ellen DeGeneres. Believe it or not. People said, you should do stand-up. But I was losing it because of life. And I was allowing it to get me down. These are big things. I'm not trying to minimize them. But I didn't have the tools that I have today because all I saw was dark. All I saw was bleak. All I saw was depression. The last couple weeks, Rev D has been talking about joyful no matter what. Joy over drama, because drama is optional. 15 years in this spiritual community, I have the tools. Going through a really hard divorce, really ugly, been in court for a year, extremely expensive. I haven't had a job since April. And recently I've received some really harsh news, really hard to take. So here I am, speaking on joy and the divine sense of humor, even in the midst. Thank you. The divine sense of humor for me has shown up in all kinds of different ways. Like, if anyone's an 80s child, Depeche Mode, Blasphemous Rumors. I think God has a sixth sense of humor, and when I die, he'll be laughing. There were times I felt that way. Angry at God. So angry that I've thrown up. Vomited. I've been so angry. And then there's the song from the 80s that was actually a rip-off of an original song called Joy and Pain. Rev's talked about joy and sorrow. Pam talked about joy and sorrow. I want to just take a minute and talk about joy and pain. Here's some of the lyrics from that song, the original song. But when the world is down on you, love's somewhere around. Well, it seems to me that joy and pain are like sunshine and rain. Come on, Etienne. Sing it with me. Just the chorus. Joy and pain, like sunshine and rain. Come on now. Joy and pain, it's like sunshine and rain. Give it to him, raw bass. Okay, no, that one. All right, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was also my singing debut. I didn't mean to do that. Thank you, Etienne. Over and over, you can be sure there will be sorrow, but you will endure. Where there's a flower, there's the sun and the rain. Oh, and it's wonderful. They're both one and the same. If you need that song, look it up. Not the raw bass one, like I said. Joy and pain is like sunshine and rain. What happens when sunshine and rain come together? You're all right. Growth. Growth. Last time I was up here last month, I talked about investing in the sadness, investing in the pain, allowing feelings to come up. They're guidance systems. They're God's gift to just let us know what's out of alignment. And then we feel them and we let them go. We let them go through. It's just energy. I've been so angry lately. And I honor that. Here's the difference from back then to now. I don't stay there. Here's another song for you by Len, Steal My Sunshine. And of course you can't become if you only say what you would have done. So I missed a million miles of fun, keeping versed and on my feet if you steal my sunshine. No. I will not. You might have seen Rev D on Instagram, her quote today, talking about circumstances do not define my joy. Circumstances are fleeting. There's more than what meets my eye right now. I may not be able to see above what's going on, but I have a trust and I have a faith, and nothing is going to steal my sunshine. Because if I want a high vibration, I'm the one that needs to bring it. His Holiness Dalai Lama, how many pictures have we seen of him smiling and laughing? That's on purpose. And he even talks about we need to come up with more reasons to smile. Now, what's going on with me personally is one thing, and what's going on in the world is it another thing? We're all connected, we're all one. But there's a lot of despicable things going on right now. And what I come down to is joy is a choice. Just one choice away. So in 1988, when things were really hard for me, I had lost my sister and my parents were heading into divorce, I got this postcard from my friend. I don't expect you to see it, but it's a picture of parents taking their kids to the Bronx Zoo. Dad's looking at the rhinos, mom's looking at the kids. And what are the kids doing? Hanging upside down on a fence. I've had this postcard since 1988. It is taped on the wall of my bathroom to remind me to frickin' play. Psychology today says a 4-year-old will laugh 300 times in a day. The average 40-year-old, take a guess. Wow, you guys are pessimistic. Or realistic. Y'all need to laugh more, I guess. You're actually not far off, 4 times. A 4-year-old 300 times, a 40-year-old 4 times. Wait till you're 63. I hope it increases a bit. Please tell me I have that to look forward to. Laughing is like jogging on the inside. It's free. And it's your choice at any given moment, in spite the circumstances. Laughter releases endorphins, increases oxygen, reduces stress, focuses you on, and helps you be more creative. It helps you connect with people. The reading talked about a more empathetic and engaged world. Laughter is a gateway drug. Right, Ron? With all those things that happened, my sister passing, my uncle stayed with me the night before the funeral. And we went to the grocery store to get some really bad junk food, because you need that sometimes. I'm 16. He put me inside a shopping cart. I was 5'10" then, like I am now. A lot thinner, though. And he pushed me through and just drove me through the parking lot and then threw me into a bush. It was fantastic. Doing that out of love. My parents, the night that I learned that they were divorcing, I told my friends I need to go out, and we went to go see an animation film festival. And we laughed. When I was coming out, I got so depressed at 28 years old because I grew up in a conservative Christian environment where I was taught to fear God, to be afraid of God. God wasn't a God of love in my mind at the time. So I was afraid God wasn't going to love me anymore and that I was going to be rejected, and I couldn't bear that, and I became depressed and actually had suicidal thoughts. What turned me around was this really stupid poster that I had when I was in second grade. Remember, there was humor in my family and in my home. And at the bottom of the poster was this really butt ugly troll. A troll. And although it's grammatically incorrect, it was profound. And I remembered this poster, even in the midst of my depression, just a lump of just mess on the floor with Kleenexes all around me. I remember this troll on my poster, and it said, "God don't make no junk." And I started laughing, even in the midst. So I don't have this job since April. Who am I in the high times and the good times, and who am I? Who am I in the bad times? How am I going to show up? I have 2 kids. They're my everything. For me, they were with me on my last day of my job. They were grounding. Crisis has a way of just showing you what's not important anymore. It just falls away. Right? And what's left are the things that are the most important. And that's what you go with. That's what you start with. And on that day, the last day of my job in April, I was with my kids. And I was with Christy. And I'm like, that doesn't matter anymore, because that's gone. This is what's real. This is what's happening now. This is where I am now. This is what matters to me most now. My son almost died in the hospital. We were in the hospital in the ICU for 12 days 5 years ago. This is the 3rd time he almost died, but this one was pretty intense. The afternoon that we came home, we were barely out of the car, and I said, "Kids, we're going to the park." They hadn't been out in the park for 12 days. It was July. So we go to the park. One night that I'm putting him down to sleep, getting him ready for bed, and I'm putting on his pajamas and stuff, and he has to wear an oxygen monitor because he has epilepsy, and he could have seizures in the middle of the night and no one would know, and it could stop his breathing. So he has a monitor that he's hooked up to. So I'm preparing him and getting him ready, and he just stops me. He holds my shoulders and he looks at me. And I'm like, "Hi, Jordan, hi." And he starts slowly coming into me, and it looks like he's going to give me a kiss on the nose. And I lean in and I close my eyes, anticipating this kiss on my nose. And he gets to my nose and he burps. And busts up laughing. Thank God for my son to remind me to laugh. My kids remind me to play. I hope something in your life reminds you to play, reminds you to laugh. How about today? Hopefully you've laughed more than 4 times in the last 15 minutes that we've been speaking. That you bust through that quota and raise the average for whatever age group you might be in. That's my intent. I can see joy now. I can see joy. There's funny things. Gary Marshall. You like Gary Marshall films? Yeah. The most intense scenes, something always funny happens. He does that deliberately. It's intentional. There's funny things that happen at really intense times. On purpose. It's part of the divine sense of humor. There's a line from one of his movies, Steel Magnolias, the Dolly Parton character. Laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. Wow. So, I hope we remember this. I hope we remember to laugh. Create reasons to smile. You know what? Some of the things that make me laugh when I think of them, one, reading memes. Memes can be really funny. The well-intentioned ones, anyway. Reading autocorrect texts. If you have not done this, you have to do this. It will make you cry laughing. That is one of my ways. I remember 6 months ago, I was really, again, I do this a lot. Crumpled on the floor, Kleenexes all around me, and I'm like, and I do this, and I allow myself to feel on my feelings. I really do. I honor them. And then I go, okay, that's enough for now. I don't know what I'll need in an hour, but right now, I'm going to read auto-corrected texts. It's free. It's available. Another thing that makes me laugh is thinking about sex. That is the most awkward, ridiculous process I can possibly think of. Elbows everywhere, your foot's asleep. And that's in comfortable environments. Then we add complexity and go in the car, the beach. Y'all, sand can get anywhere. Humor and humility are related. It's okay to laugh, even in the midst. My mom said after I pass, I want a celebration of life. I don't want a funeral. Let's share stories, but first let's make some stories. Let's create reasons to smile. The world needs it. We all individually need it at some point. And this is about community. Keeping the high watch. Dr. Seuss says, well, of course, the brilliant philosopher Dr. Seuss says, laughter is the sun that drives out the winter of the face. Laugh. Laugh as much as you can, as the quote says. Laugh until you cry, or in my case lately, cry until you laugh. This too shall pass. Everything is transient. Marianne Williamson, who's an author and is currently running for president, she'll be in the debates next week, which is a miracle. She says people either learn through joy or through pain. Joy and pain, it's like sunshine and rain. And that's where growth happens. We need both. It's both. And we have permission, full permission to feel joy, even in the midst. And even when things are going well, we have full permission to feel any other feelings that come up. It's okay. Give yourself that permission. If somebody else is going through a really hard time, okay, time yourself well. I'm not saying just throw out a potty joke to break up tension and awkwardness. I mean, be mature and wise on your timing. But oftentimes people need that break to remember that life is in session and life is still in life. And laughter is honoring life and breath. My mom's mom would subscribe to Reader's Digest, and every time I went to go visit her, I would break open, okay, y'all know this part, I mean, not everybody, I mean, half the room is younger than me, but there was a segment in there called Laughter is the Best Medicine. And I couldn't wait to read them. They were the stupidest jokes, like what I opened with from Ellen DeGeneres. It was stupid jokes, but they made me laugh. I'm from Oregon. We don't tan in the summertime, we rust. This is the stuff that I was raised with. So as I go through these life moments, these hard times in my life, if I just look around, if I just look up, because usually you're looking down when you're in it, right? When you look up and you look around, there's a kid smiling. There's my daughter putting a pencil in her lip and going, Mommy, look, it's a mustache. It could be anything. Look for it, because it's there. Life is funny, even in the hard times. And it's there as laughter is a power of healing. It's a healing property. Laughter is the best medicine. There's movies based on how laughter has healed people. It puts you in a higher vibration. Start with a smile. Graduate to laughter. Enjoy the humor. Make plans. That makes God laugh. Am I right? Reinhold Niebuhr says, laughter is the beginning of a prayer. Is Kevin Sullivan in the room? If you haven't heard Kevin Sullivan pray, you're going to now. He is such a beautiful person, but a person of prayer who I've always really admired as someone who can really do a prayer. And so I've asked him to do the closing prayer. Just remember, please, for the love of God, laughter is available. It is a part of joy. There is a divine sense of humor to all of this. You don't have to trust me on this, trust God on this. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. If you want to make God laugh, decide you're right about something. Be a good time. Let us turn within in this moment. Oh, sweet divine Holy Spirit, in this moment we simply praise everything as we remember that everything is you. And as we grow and expand and discover all of these areas that seem like places of sorrow and grief and grit, we allow ourselves to remember that life is a spiritual path and that it is not just nitty-gritty, and the spiritual path is not just airy-fairy. It's airy-gritty. Give us the courage to look at what we need to look at, the courage to not be sorrowful, not let the sorrow get the final word. Allow us to remember that we didn't come here to do anything. We came here to become something. And that no matter what the problem is, we can remember that we are immortal divine beings. And ultimately, there is no problem to that which is immortal. Our love cannot be stolen from us. Our joy cannot be robbed from us. Peace cannot be taken from us. Abundance, the child's mind. That enthusiasm, that joyous exhilaration is what we truly are. So in this moment, we allow ourselves to remember that and have a sense of humor about all the areas where we have gone wrong, all the things that we have done incorrectly, all the things that have not gone our way. We allow ourselves to laugh at our own selves for making plans and being so attached to them. Thank you, sweet Spirit. Thank you, sweet Spirit. So in this moment, we are just grateful and allow ourselves to feel into the holy vibration of all needs met. All the love we need is here. All the joy is here. The peace is here. All our material needs fulfilled. We just allow ourselves to feel into that vibration. And as we feel into this vibration, we know we have lost no one. All we have lost is that which no longer serves. And so we are grateful now for everything we lose is an expansion of our awareness of what we truly are. And so we just surrender right now. Allow everything within us that is trying to struggle, trying to say there's something wrong. We just surrender to that infinite good and allow ourselves to become that which we chose to become before we incarnated. And the courage to stop asking God, why? We chose to be here. We chose to expand. We chose to be more. That's all we need to know. And we are so very grateful. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. So in this moment, we knowing that the word has been spoken, we're knowing that a great feeling tonality is going to be fulfilled within us that allows us to be in right flow motion of the Spirit in all areas of our lives. We're knowing that all of the things that seem so impossible, that would not allow that to happen, will be dissolving away by the grace of God beyond what we can even fathom is possible, will happen. It will take place, and it is already here. So thank you, great Spirit. Thank you, sweet Spirit. So we release this prayer. We know that it is done, and so it is.